connection where we have both air and water together on the same catheter. We described initially the benefits because not only for a comparison study, you can start both channels exactly at the same value, but it has clinical applications as well because it helps you guide exactly how far the transducer has to be placed in order to get the correct starting pressure. Of course, we're still assuming symphysis pubis is in the right location when we start the test, say when the patient is in a supine position. Okay? If we're going to argue about the location of symphysis pubis, that's going to be another problem. It'll be another topic. However, we are basing on good urodynamic practices from the ICS guidelines that there is a clear understanding as to how that's done. So let's assume that's done in the correct location. What happens when you actually move a patient? Because oftentimes you'll take the patient and you'll move them to a sitting or to a standing position. How do you know you're getting really back to the same location as before? Especially in the situation where the symphysis pubis rotates and we know that there's a sometimes 8 to 10 centimeter shift when they rotate anatomically. So in this particular situation, we're going to ask the patient to stand up. So when the patient stands up, something like this, you will see that the water just shot up, went up to 47, and that the air stayed at 11. Because we showed in the previous demonstration, air is not impacted by patient position. So where would you put the water transducer height? Simply, you would raise this. Okay. Now remember, we can't really see this bladder because it's in a real patient, it's opaque. We would raise this until the two numbers are the same. So the urodynamic says this is the position that's the same. And so what's really important is that we now have a guide, an absolute numerical guide, that tells us where to place the water transducer when there is a patient movement or patient change in position. And once again, when a patient sits down, again, to another location, it doesn't really matter what that number really is, we go back and we take a look at, well, we know that the water transducer on the outside has to be about here. Okay, because the two numbers must match up. And if you take a look at what's happened, the height of this transducer, height of symphysis pubis, it looks pretty much dead on. Okay? So I should be able to track this position to this bladder neck, even if I can't see the bladder neck, simply by looking at the urodynamic results and matching two sets of numbers. And it's probably our suggestion that we include the water transducer as part of an air charge measurement. Again, we're only using one catheter in the patient, we're not using two. We're really getting the benefits of both water and air to get the kind of baselines that we expect, the kind of behavior, pressure behavior based on symphysis pubis, based on good urodynamic practices, with all the conveniences of the air system. Okay? The only disadvantage, I guess, in this kind of a dual monitoring configuration is that you can't monitor the bladder pressure of the water during the pumping phase, because when you run pump fluid through the transducer, we know that the pressures will spike straight up, and that's fine. So if you want to check your catheter position, you want to check your transducer integrity, just stop filling, the two numbers should be the same, and just keep on going with your test.